This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Friday, March 4th, 2016. Clash of the Republican con artists. Now, there's been a big push since Super Tuesday to really jump all over Trump. He's a con artist. He's a failure in business. He's misogynistic. He stokes racial animosity, racial resentment. And Dr. Krugman aptly points out, but isn't he just basically saying a little bit more out loud than what all of the other Republican candidates are saying? All are playing the exact same con game as Donald Trump. And let's just take a look at a couple of them. Marco Rubio, number one, what's his big con? Well, he's basically saying, oh, I'm going to cut taxes like 5 times as much as Bush cut taxes. And I'm going to increase the military in an astronomical amount, and that we're going to have a balanced budget in a short period of time, and I'm going to do it by cutting out waste, fraud, and abuse, which will take out 10% or whatever, and the rest of it we're going to get with that we're going to basically cut back on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. That's how he's going to do it, and he's not even going to be remotely close to doing it because he's going to have to hit every single other government agency to even get remotely close to doing it. So he's not, that's a con. And of course, people are angry because they want their taxes lowered. They still want to get Social Security. They think that no one knows how to run the government because that's all the Republicans have been saying is that no one knows how to run the government. And then when they get into power, they prove that they don't know how to run the government. So he wants to have tax cuts. He wants to increase the military-industrial complex. He wants to balance the budget. And, even though this guy isn't running for president, Paul Ryan has been the biggest snake oil salesman, con artist that the Republicans have had consistently since about 2009, where he throws out this in budget. And he talks about where we're going to be, but he doesn't tell us how we're going to get there. So he talks about the waste, fraud, and abuse. He talks about, I'm not going to tell you how we're going to get there. This is where we need to be to balance the budget, to do all the types of stuff. And of course, it involves the same thing Rubio's talking about. Cutting taxes, increasing the military-industrial complex, cutting out all the other government agencies to, decrease the Department of Commerce, Federal Communication Commission, Security and Exchange Commission, Department of Agriculture, cutting them to the bone, right? So, and Ryan doesn't want to tell us how he's going to get there. He just says this is where it needs to be. And he's considered the serious one. And of course, everything that he's promoting is basically pixie dust. It's smoke and mirrors. It can never, ever happen. All right. And so this stuff will never, never happen. And of course, he sort of what maybe simply indicated the other day that he doesn't want to hear any of this racial bigotry stuff. Basically was a slap towards Trump. Because we are the party of Lincoln. And of course, he's been all a part of the party of Lincoln. When he ran for vice president, they relied on the Southern strategy, which Nixon brought about in 72, which was basically saying, we have to stoke the racial animosity and fear of white people in the South so that they'll all become Republicans. And what did Ronald Reagan do? He talked about welfare queens. He's talked about strapling young bucks, meaning well-built. I won't get into what Trump would say about him. Something else. Young black men. So that's what he has done all along. Cruz is no different. Dr. Krugman points out that he would probably be the one that would want to bring back the Spanish Inquisition. So he's really far out there. Now, in foreign policy, Donald Trump is basically, his one big claim to fame is that he's proud that he'd want to waterboard and he'd want to do it he'd want to be even worse than just waterboarding. But you see, the con is that the neocons have been basically saying, we never waterboarded, we just had enhanced interrogation techniques, which is short for waterboarding. So what basically Trump has been doing has been saying out loud the con that every one of them have been doing it. And of course, what it's basically showing to the establishment GOP is that the people who are following Trump, basically, they're seeing through a lot of the con of the Republicans, and they just can't have that because, everything that is coming out of the Republicans' mouths in terms of domestic policy, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of making America great again, and all of that stuff, it's all voodoo. It can't happen. It cannot happen by them whatsoever. So whether you have Trump as the nominee, and of course, I would venture to say any one of those three, Trump, Cruz, or Rubio, to me, is very, very frightening, very, very scary because remember, Cruz and Rubio, they're going to pay allegiance to everyone who's backed them and given them money. Trump, no, but he's just going to do whatever he feels like doing. So a con game all the way through. One last thing, I've created a Facebook page called The Lifetime Liberal. All one word. I post there every day. You're welcome to join. You're welcome to post. You're welcome to make comments, both positive, all comments, both positive and negative, are appreciated.